What is going on, guys? Nice guy driver. So I got a bit of a effect from allergies, so my eyes is a little off. But other than that, I wanted to tell you guys about the great day I had with Just Lyft. It was actually the best day I had on Lyft probably this entire year. The rides were coming back to back like they used to years ago. Like they used to back to back, like giving me the rides that were close. And because of that new Lyft boost, I was getting, instead of these $4 and $5 rides, I was getting $9 to $12 per ride. I think I only did like 10 rides and I was already like above $100. And my goal for the day is only $120. And I did that after only being online for 3 hours on Lyft, which is record breaking for my area, because they like to give the drivers the rides that are the drivers that are the suckers, the ones that take the lowest ball offers. But yesterday was different, and I'm going to tell you why. I believe yesterday was different because it was raining, and percentages of drivers that are out when it's poured down raining. I'm talking like not drizzle, like it's really raining hard. That's what it was doing in my area yesterday. So there was fewer drivers out. That could have played a part of it, I'm sure, because every time it rains, there's a surge, and we get more offers at a higher rate. And with David Risher's new 70% guarantee, which is not really 70%, we all know this as drivers, but I think that boost basically is giving us the equivalence of what we're supposed to get or used to get on each ride. So it'll be like a offer where it'll be like $5, maybe $6, and with the boost it'll be like 9 to 12. But those are the offers we used to get before this upfront pricing. So the boost is not really a boost, it's really just giving us what we're supposed to get per ride, which makes Lyft claim to 70% look better, even though it's more like 50% in my mind. But it was effective only on those days, though, on the rainy days, because we're back here the next day, and I guarantee you that's not going to happen. And I didn't even tell you guys, I didn't even go out in the morning. I came out late afternoon, and I'm talking about the rides were clicking. I mean, I think I came out sometime afternoon, probably closer to 12:30, 1 o'clock. And by 5, I was on my way back home. This never happens, mind you. Even in the past on the rainy days, Lyft has never been the one that offer me the most rides. It just isn't. It's usually Uber. Now, I'm going to tell you what happens on Uber yesterday. I did turn the app on. I turned the Uber app on, and the offers were completely garbage. I'm talking about, they were so much garbage. I was like, yo, I don't even want to look at this app today. So I literally turned it off. Yeah, the rides were that bad. And I'm starting to realize that I got this nosy guy looking at me now. I'm starting to realize that Uber is playing a new game. I don't know what it is, or what's going on, but I'll give you an example of some of the offers that Uber was offering and why, at least right now, Lyft seems to be the better app when you are getting offers. You're still going to get more offers on Uber usually. But for some reason, this day when it was raining, and there was surge on the app, but you couldn't take advantage of it because their offers were that bad. I mean, they were completely trying to take advantage of drivers, trying to get them to drive like 15, I would say 10 at the very lowest, but most of the rides were 15 to 20 minutes away, pick up to do a shorter trip. So Uber's trying to get us to drive further, pick these people up on our dime, because we're not getting paid to go pick them up. We're only getting paid when we get them in the car. I mean, they'll give you maybe $1 or $2 if the pickup's far, but they're really trying to scam us. And Lyft is trying to take a little bit of advantage of this by doing this new boost thing where you get like, I think at one point I was getting like 30%, and then it went down to like 20%, 10%. But it really helped per ride to the point where I would have to take, usually I have to take 3 times many more rides to make the same $1. Now, I'm not kissing up to Lyft because, again, we don't get that many offers. It's not like we're getting a crazy amount per se. We're getting probably what we normally should get if they weren't gaming the app. But because the traffic with drivers was so low yesterday, because nobody wants to be in the downpour rain. Like, drivers we just don't like it, period. But the few of us that come out here, we try to take advantage of that and try to make as much as we can while we can, I'd say. While we're out here in the rain, we might as well make as much as we can. And my roommate, he outdid me. He outdid me because he went out early, and he said that day, and he was out early in the morning, and then he also went out in the afternoon like I did. So he made probably close to $200, and probably half the time he normally does, he said. So I guess rainy days are good in Connecticut with Rideshare anyway, but not on Uber. Hit me in the comments. Let me know what you think is going on with Uber, why it's so bad lately. You know what Uber's offering us? Remember not back in the day, I would say even just last year, Lyft was the one doing this, where Lyft was giving us these far ridiculous pickups. Like 20, it was like normal to get an offer on Lyft where the pickup is 20 minutes away. That was normal. That was normal for Lyft. But because Lyft has gained more drivers, I would say in the past year or two, they are not even competing with Uber yet, because they're like really small to Uber. That's why Uber, if you notice when they interview Dara, the CEO at Uber, and they mention Lyft a lot, he doesn't even bat an eye, because Lyft is relatively small compared to Uber. So much so that they a lot of times help Lyft out when it comes to like these lawsuits and stuff like that. Because Uber has more money, they often help Lyft out and DoorDash out and these other gigs apps out. So they don't look at Lyft as a serious competitor yet, you know, and it probably never will be, because they don't diversify enough. Like, I just don't believe that Lyft diversifies enough to even scare Uber. But if I have to say, out of two apps, I kind of feel on Lyft right now. Now, I heard the good news about Wridz launched in Minneapolis, guys. They finally did it. One of these off-brand rideshare companies finally did it. Wridz is out of Texas, and they were one of the first ones. I'm not going to say they're the only ones because there's more coming. But Wridz officially launched in Minneapolis, so they're helping them out, and they actually have drivers on the road. Finally, we got one out there. This is good news, guys, because this is proof that competition is good. And even though Uber and Lyft is like two different companies, it's like, I like to look at it as AT&T and Verizon. And I just don't think it would be fair if we didn't have T-Mobile too. That's the way you gotta look at this. You gotta look at this as you need competition. Competition is good for business for everybody. And I think I had to let it fly out. That's why I rolled down the windows. I think this is great news, particularly for rideshare in general, that Wridz launched in Minneapolis, because it shows when Uber and Lyft make these threats, we can do better. Thank you, Wridz. Hopefully there's more to come. That's not any great news for Connecticut necessarily, but like I said, rideshare as a whole, it's good. And it really started making me think, guys, what's to stop me? What's to stop me from raising the money? I mean, obviously I know I can't earn the money. I can never earn the money in a lifetime. But if I properly structure a corporation, what's to stop me from raising the money on the state and federal level to launch my own rideshare company? I'm not a software engineer or anything like that, but that's where raising the money comes into play, because you hire the right people. I think if Connecticut just had an app other than Uber and Lyft, I believe I can get all these coalitions in Connecticut and New Haven and Hartford to jump on the app, as long as it don't got no scammy, trip rides feel to it. I think a lot of people would jump on it. And I know the guy from the Rideshare Hub, not the Rideshare guy, but the Rideshare Hub, he was saying how he doesn't believe in a model where you got to pay a monthly subscription. I do, because let's be realistic. You have to have some money coming into the company to maintain the app, to pay the necessary state fees and filing fees every year. You got to have some money, revenue coming in. But literally, I think Wridz is charging something like $100 a month, but the drivers get all the income, like literally all the revenue generated by the app to the driver, and you could pick your own driver. Just imagine if we had that in Connecticut. Just think for a minute. If we had that in Connecticut, I easily see myself making, I would say I made, 50 last year. I easily see myself making over 100K in just normal rideshare if I had an app like Wridz. Now just imagine Connecticut came out with an app where we charge a smaller subscription fee. So instead of $100, let's say we only charge $59.97. And that still, over time, I think would be enough to maintain the app, to maintain the functions of the app. And unfortunately, you can't take this company public, because the minute you take one of these companies or rideshare companies public, that's where the greed kicks in. That's where it happens. But literally, you could just maintain the app with $59.97 and just gradually up that subscription fee a few dollars a year. And I don't think drivers would flip out. You could literally up it the following year to $10, say $69.97. Nobody will cry because you're already below what Ride subscription is. That would maintain the app year after year. The company would show growth year after year because you're raising the subscriptions. You're not going to lose drivers, because drivers would gladly pay $100 if they can get all the earnings and their customers can pick them specifically to get rides. Let me know your thoughts on this idea, your comments. I love it. I love that Wridz came out with the subscription model. I did think $100 is a little high, but again, if that was our only option in Connecticut, I would do it. And they do strict background checks. They do, which I don't mind. If you're not a criminal, you'll do background checks. Now, what that also does, all these illegal immigrants, not the legal ones, but these illegal immigrants that are on Uber and Lyft, they can't get on Wridz. They will not be able to get on an app that I produce, because you got to have the strict background checks. And I'm sure $59.97 would cover the background checks every month. If you're getting that every month, that should be enough to maintain the app, do the background checks, and everything else. And you probably get a discount on background checks if you say, you charge me only this amount if I get over 100 or whatever. And then later, you could sell a business like this to a bigger company like Uber or Lyft, but you gotta stay strong. That would corrupt everything we built. If a company came out with a subscription model sold to Uber and Lyft, eventually corruption would kick in. So that company would have to stay strong. They would have to stay in ownership. And it should be a board of directors. It should be run by a board of directors, not just the CEO. And I definitely would want to be on the board of directors. I don't need to be the CEO, but somebody has to keep that person in check when things go crazy. Again, let me know your thoughts, and thank you for helping me grow this channel. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Thank you.